many of us that have something important to say, it takes a long time to be able to distill and express that which is really flowing through our heart, what feels like our purpose or our mission, right? So I think at some point along the journey, we get really comfortable with what it is that we're trying to say or introduce, especially amongst this time where it's very challenging to penetrate new ideas into somebody's already indoctrinated way of thinking, right? So many of us here, and I know who follow this channel, are in this market of introducing not just new concepts, but having the precision to implement new ways of thinking at the same time. So we get very comfortable along the journey talking to people of our own kind, right? People we feel comfortable around, people who we know are going to basically support us and not really challenge us. And what I've been working on immediately and lately, and I'm sharing this because it's helping me as I continue to go into environments where I'm not 100% supported, right? And I think very often we get accustomed to either being alone in the work, having a friend or two, or focusing in this online digital community. But then when it comes to going out in the actual community in the real world, in reality, sharing our ideas, our concepts, what feels very important to us, we get lost. And then we fragment into either a facade that we don't like, or we overdo it, where we blast them with information, and then it just contributes to more misunderstanding and conflict. And I think that the next phase of my personal journey, and something that I'm trying to work with people and have dialogue around, is saying your message, getting clear on what it is, exactly what you want to say and who you are, and being able to share and express the message anywhere at any time in front of anyone without being dysregulated, right? And I see this so often, is that when that happens, when the dysregulation happens and we face an opposite, we face somebody who we know is blinded by aspects of their own victim mentality or whatever it is that we can see, when we have these interactions where we lose ourself, we lose our ability to stay emotionally regulated within it, it can become very exhausting. And this feels to me like the old new age empath wound of, oh, I have to sequester myself away in my room and have whatever it is to support me, a non-physical item, right? I need my crystals, I need this, I need to sage my place. Well, this is just really indicating that you're not ready or prepared emotionally to do what you do in the real world. And I'm not trying to diminish what has happened to all of us in a sense, whether it be from family trauma, illness, the fall, whatever it is. I'm not trying to diminish that, because this is really difficult stuff to really, truly, authentically work through. All I'm stating is that if we're going to do anything, we've got to get good at navigating the field. And we know that the field is full of a lot of things, thoughts, beliefs that are not in alignment with natural law and love and freedom. So the next step is to, how do you go out into these environments and fully be yourself without dysregulating or skewing the message in a way where it cannot be received, right? So I'm trying to work on these skills within myself. This true skill, the true magician, right? How can you be your full self and claim your message in many different languages and many different variations, many different forms, to meet that person where they're at, to plant seeds, to just not dysregulate yourself, right? When we dysregulate emotionally, when we try to broaden our horizons, is, we all know what happens, guys. This is nothing new. We all know what happens is, when I overextend myself or I don't do it correctly and I'm emotionally involved and I'm angry or I'm frustrated or I'm whatever it is, there's a low period and then there's a period of like recapitulation or recalibration that often involves an overextension of, well, now I need pleasure to find my balance again, right? And then we find, well, then now we're drinking and we're doing these other things and we're checking out to recalibrate where we are trying to be on a consecutive basis. Okay, so that's really been what I'm working on specifically, is translation in a way that it can be received to any audience differently. I'm the one cultivating a million ways to say the same thing to different people in a way where I'm not dysregulating, compromising my soul, or overdoing it to the point of checking out and doing other things that I know aren't that healthy for me to try to find recalibration. Okay. So once you got it, once you know who you are and you know what you're doing, we got to work on mastering translations and then going out in the field and doing the thing with everybody with an undercurrent of not just dominion, because that doesn't work. We have to maintain the true principle of care as we're planting little seeds or having difficult Socratic dialoguing with other people. You still have to be coming from love. If you can't maintain that true nature of coming from care, you're going to get dysregulated. That's it. And whether you show your dysregulation publicly or you hide and you escape and you do things on your own that you wish you could get over, habits, addictions, whatever, numbing out, it's an indication that we just need to continue to do the self-purification work. It just doesn't start when we feel like we know. The application and the implementation within reality is the only way that we're actually going to make progress. And I'm all for cultivating your digital, your friends online and our groups. And it's so, so important. But if you don't separate from what's comfortable and go out into the belly of the beast and do the thing with your sense of understanding and clarity, but also with a deep undercurrent of love, you should be able to say something very difficult and very true and very allegedly harsh from a way where your approach isn't deflecting the other person. And of course, this is a process of trial and error, and you're going to deflect people, because I've done this a lot. This is where, we talked about, the new age community. You can't wake anybody up, right? That's what their line is. You can't wake anybody up. And that in essence is kind of true. It's not your job, but it is your job to show up and share your message. That's what is your job, right? The rest has to be done through that individual's own personal understanding. So being able to fully show up as yourself in many translations, in many forms, in many shapes, and not be so invested in the outcome of the other, because that has to be done within, and we all know this, but really, truly mastering your craft of being with the people who support you, but being equally as good with the people who don't.